everyone, welcome back. I'm sure by now you have seen this video going around where a YouTuber shows you their top 3 most favorite, most used, well, I should say current most favorite and most used makeup product in every beauty category, from foundation to eyeshadow palettes to lip liners to contour products. These videos have been quite popular, and as usual, I have taken a really long time to do my version because, well, I'm always late to these sort of tag videos, especially one like this that is, I think, pretty difficult. It's not easy to choose my top 3 products in every category. I'm certain it wasn't easy for anyone who's done this video. And as I said about 60 seconds ago, these are current favorites because, as you know, we YouTubers, we test a lot of products, we change our minds about things. We might really love something for a few months, but then something better comes along, and then that product gets knocked out of the top spot. I think you get the picture. So I'm gonna break mine up into, I think, 2 or maybe even 3 videos. Today I'm focusing on complexion. So I will be sharing my favorite foundations, primers, concealers, powders, both pressed and loose, my favorite contour product, my favorite highlighting product. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to put bronzers and blush in this video or put that in another one. We'll see how long this ends up being. Without any further ado, I want to get started since I do have so many things to talk about. Please keep in mind my skin is oily, and I also want you to keep in mind that if you do not hear a product in my top 3 that I've raved about recently and you're questioning why isn't that in her top 3, it's only because I was trying to be brutally honest with myself and with you and choose the 3 that I do reach for the most right now. So beginning with primers, I recently filmed a products I wish I'd tried sooner video. I'm not sure if that one is going to go up before this one or after this one. I'm hoping that this video goes up after that one, but I'm not 100% certain. This is a product that I speak about in the products I wish I had tried sooner video. This is the Milk Makeup Blur Stick. So when I use this, it does what I want it to do before I apply my foundation, which is to help smooth the look of pores and texture. I was really impressed by this. It's been out for quite a long time and I never used it because I had always heard such mixed reviews on it, but I finally did and I absolutely love it. I apply it to my T-zone and it instantly blurs my pores. I did use it today. I just love this as a pre-foundation product, so I'm going to label it a primer. Now this next primer is a more traditional primer. It is the YSL Touche Eclat Gold Blurring Primer. This one comes with a pump. It does have that silicone-y, slippery feel to it, but it sinks right into the skin. It doesn't feel like it's clogging your pores or it's going to make you excessively greasy. The makeup just glides on so beautifully over this primer, and it definitely blurs my pores and textures as well. This one is great for someone who maybe doesn't have huge pores like I do and doesn't really need the blur stick quite as much, and you're also maybe looking for a little bit of hydration other than just, again, blurring the pores. This is a great option for you. So let's say someone with combination to oily skin and medium size, small to medium size pores. I think you're going to love this primer. And then my former Holy Grail primer before I started using these, and I still think it's a great primer, especially for someone with oily skin. This is the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. This is one of the best products I've ever used for oil control. So if you live in a humid climate or you just perhaps sweat a lot and you need something that will genuinely control the oil, nothing, in my opinion, beats this. These other 2 are great for smoothing texture and pores, but this is the best for oil control. All right, moving on to eyeshadow primers. My current favorite eyeshadow primers that make my eyeshadow go on more vibrantly. They help prevent creasing and just keep my eyeshadow on my oily lids all day long. Those are the NARS Pro Prime Eyeshadow Primer. I use it in both the clear and the tinted sometimes. Another favorite is the P.Louise eyeshadow base. And then my favorite drugstore eyeshadow primer is this one from Milani. Okay, so those are my current favorite primers for the face and the eye. And now I want to move on to foundation. This was so difficult because I do have at least 10 foundations in my rotation that I just love and would recommend to anyone. Obviously, based on your particular skin type, I have foundations that I love that I think would work for drier skin, would work for more mature skin. And I promise you, I will do an updated top 10 foundations very soon. But for right now, I had to just select the 3 that I reach for the most. And the first one is the one I have on now. I used this because, well, for 2 reasons. One, because I just love it. It gives me amazing medium to full coverage that still looks natural, and it lasts all day and all night, and it matches my skin when I have a self-tan going, which I do. I have a very dark self-tan going on right now. So this is the Urban Decay Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation. This is such an underrated foundation in my opinion. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, and I'm not sure why. I think it is fantastic. It's not easy to find your perfect shade, I'll tell you that. I am using this 50NN, and as I said, it is for when I'm tan. This does not match my natural skin tone. Once I start finishing up some of my other foundations, I will go repurchase this, or maybe during the upcoming Sephora holiday bonus event, I will get this in my natural shade. I guess this one is also for when I have a little bit of color. It's not quite as dark as the Stay Naked, the 50NN in this, but I do use the 3W1 Tawny often in the Estee Lauder Double Wear. And the reason why this made my top 3 is because here in Las Vegas, we do still have a mask mandate. So when I go out for dinner, I have to wear a mask, especially in the casinos. And this one does stay on pretty well, but this one, in my opinion, is the best underneath a mask. And at this point, I have tested out pretty much every foundation I own underneath a mask, and this one is the clear winner. I will never stop using this foundation. I just think it is so good, especially if you have oily skin, combination skin, maybe you live in a humid climate. And just like how I was saying that this mineral primer from Hourglass is excellent for someone who maybe gets hot flashes or sweats a lot, this is a great foundation as well for someone who has those issues. And I am aware, after talking about this foundation off and on for years, that some people do find it a little heavy or they're not quite sure how to apply it. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to do a video on how I apply the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation without looking heavy or cakey. Although my good friend Stephanie Marie has a couple really great videos on that subject. So I will link her video down below in the description box, but I can clearly do one for you as well. But I think she pretty much covers it in her video. And then finally in the foundation category, I do have a skin tint, something that is a lot more sheer than these other 2 that I've chosen. This is the Fenty Skin Tint. I think it's called Eavesdrop. Yes, Eavesdrop. I use the shade 8. And this is the perfect everyday natural foundation for me, I find. I was really concerned when I first tried it that it wouldn't work on my oily skin, that it would make me too shiny, but I've had really good luck with this foundation. And sometimes what I'll do is I will mix a little bit of this in with my Estee Lauder Double Wear or just any other full coverage foundation to get more of a medium coverage, to have less coverage from this and a little bit more from this. It's in an easy to use squeeze tube. If you would like to see me demo this on my skin, I will also put a link to my full face of Fenty video. Okay, moving on to concealers, another very difficult category to choose. I mean, what am I saying? These were all difficult to choose, but I've got to say there have been so many excellent concealers that have come out lately that I could definitely put on this list. I think if I did a top 5 concealers, 4 of the 5 would be new or new-ish concealers. But as I said at the very beginning of the video, what I ultimately did was I chose the concealers or the products that I have found myself reaching for the most on a daily basis in the last, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks. And number 1 would be the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Concealer. I did not want to love this concealer because it is so pricey. Some people might think $90 for a concealer, hey, no big deal. And if that's you, Awesome. As I've stated in other videos recently, my viewers come from all different financial situations, and I want to make sure that those of you that really love luxury makeup know that I stand behind this concealer. I think it is fantastic and worth the purchase. It is extremely hydrating under my eyes. It does not cake, it does not crease, it lasts all day. I absolutely adore this concealer, and I use the shade Creme. I will put all of the shade names that I use down below in the description box next to the product name and link. And now I'm taking you from an excellent luxury concealer to an amazing drugstore concealer. If you watch my videos regularly, this will come as no surprise. I've been raving about this concealer for a very long time. It is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. I use the shade 125 Light Natural. I gotta say, these are similar in a lot of ways as far as coverage and longevity. The Tom Ford does contain some skincare ingredients that the Milani does not. But if you've got dark circles and you have perhaps more mature under eyes, some fine lines, and you are just looking for an excellent budget-friendly concealer that will last you all day, this is my top pick for drugstore concealers. Because I know someone is going to ask if I still love the Maybelline Superstay Concealer. I do. I do still really, really like that one too. My number 3 concealer would be this one from One Size. This is the Turn Up the Base Concealer, and I use the shade Light 1R. This is another very creamy concealer. It has high coverage, it's long wearing. Obviously, there are going to be descriptions that are consistent throughout all of these categories. I, like you, have specific criteria for what I look for in a product. And the 3 that I use are all going to be similar in a lot of ways, with the exception of the foundations. Obviously, I showed you some different levels of coverage there. But for the concealers, I always look for something that really does a nice job of covering dark circles, because that, to me, is the most important thing. But then also, I don't want them to look cakey or creasy or have my under eyes look like, you know, I'm 20 years older than I am. And I have tried concealers that have done that. I think we all have. So with these 3, you really can't go wrong with any of them. They're definitely my number 1, 2, and 3. I don't think I've gone and done that so far yet, giving you my exact rankings. Oh my gosh, I thought it was difficult enough just to choose the 3, and now I'm remembering I have to rank the 3. Okay, so let's rank some contour products. Coming in at number 3 is the Fenty Match Stick in the shade Mocha. I've been using this for a couple years. I find it extremely easy to use. I just sort of suck in my cheeks and apply it, and then I do my forehead. I'm pretty sure I used this in the Full Face of Fenty video as well. This Mocha shade, it's often sold out, unfortunately, but this is the perfect tone for someone with my skin tone. Light, neutral. I'm not looking for anything that's too muddy looking or anything that's too gray. I don't want anything that's too golden, because then that looks not right either. So I love the Fenty Matchstick. Okay, since my camera cut out after I stopped talking about the Fenty Matchstick, I decided to wait for the sun to go down a little bit so I didn't have those lines going through the background anymore. Let's continue on. I've got 2 more contour products to rank. And I'm not sure if I said this yet or not, but because I did not rank number 3, number 2, number 1 for those other categories, I will have them ranked down below in the description box. So the Fenty Matchstick comes in at number 3. In at number 2 is the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand. I own this in the light, medium, and the medium dark. The only thing I don't like about this is the packaging, and I say that about every Charlotte Tilbury product that is packaged this way. I just do not like this packaging. It is really frustrating. It gets very messy, as I think you can see. Even though I lock it, it locks and unlocks, but I still make a mess of mine. I have also heard that some people find this product difficult to blend out. I have never had that issue. Never, ever. I use this brush from IT Cosmetics. It is the Heavenly brush number 7 for all of my contour products, and it works beautifully. Sometimes I don't go directly from this tube. I'll just take my finger and pat it in, especially in my nose. I just like to use a very tiny amount. A little bit goes a long way. I love this product, and I've repurchased it several times. I'm not sure if I will repurchase it again, simply because I have fallen in love with the Makeup by Mario contour stick. This took some getting used to. I didn't love it the first time I tried it, but it's definitely grown on me, and I find myself reaching for it over all of the others, which is why it comes in at number 1. I have used today the shade Medium. When I have not self-tanned and I'm wearing a foundation that matches my skin perfectly, I use the light medium. But again, today, because I have used a darker foundation, I used the shade Medium. So those were my favorite contour products, and now let's move on to my favorite highlighting products. Coming in at number 3 is one that I have talked about in many of my videos. It is the CoverGirl TruBlend Super Stunner Hyper Glow Illuminator. This is the shade Pearl Crush. This is beautiful for light to medium skin. It might be a little bit too bold, not bold, but it might be a little bit too ashy or just not right for someone with darker skin, but if you do have light to medium skin, this Pearl Crush is beautiful. It is a lovely formula. They do have some darker shades in this Super Stunner Hyper Glow, so if you do have deeper skin, you might want to check out one that is, I think it's like a pinky color, and then there's also one that is like a golden color. But I love Pearl Crush, and if you like this type of shade, you will love my number 1 highlighter, but I still have number 2 to show you. Number 1 knocked number 2, which was formerly number 1, down to number 2. The Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I use this as a highlighter. I use shade 3. I've had this bottle for years because I just pretty much exclusively use this as a highlighter. Some people use it before their foundation, or they mix it in with their foundation. I do find that I am a little bit too glowy if I use this under my makeup. I have tried it. I thought it looked nice, but ultimately I've decided that it's just not great under makeup if you have really oily skin. But it is beautiful as a highlighter, and it's a very natural looking highlighter. It is not over the top at all. It is perfect for all skin tones, not shade 3, it comes in multiple shades. So if you have darker skin, you're going to want to try one of the darker shades. So I love, love, love this, but recently I have fallen in love even more so with this product from Saie or Saie. This is the Glowy Super Gel in the shade Star Glow. It is what I have on, and it is gorgeous. It's a very unique shade and formula. It's like a sheer white with a little bit of opalescence, and it makes your skin just look wet. It doesn't accentuate texture. It just melts right into your skin and looks so, so beautiful. It gives a very youthful type of glow, which I think is what most of us are looking for. So if you have not tried this product, I highly recommend it. I have not used anything else from this brand, but I definitely will now. All right, I think I'm just gonna do 3 more products today. Powders, loose and pressed, and setting sprays. I'm going to move bronzers and powders, bronzers and blushes to the next video. And please let me know in the comments if you like the way I did this, or if you even care that I rank them 3, 2, 1, or if the way I was doing it in the beginning is just fine. Just please leave me some constructive feedback in the comments for part 2. But continuing with part 1, pressed powders. 2 of these I've used for years. One of them is new. First up, we have at number 3, let's do it that way. At number 3 is my MAC Blot Powder. This used to be number 1 for blotting throughout the day. I've gone through probably 100 of these in my lifetime. I use the shade Medium Dark because they do run light. This is just perfect for, well, blotting, touching up my face throughout the day, and it doesn't look cakey. It doesn't ever look cakey, and it is just perfect, in my opinion, as a blotting powder. Well, I thought it was perfect until I discovered the Invisimatte powder from Fenty. This is in the shade Universal. What I like about this one more so than the blot powder is that this one does give a little bit more of an airbrushed finish to the skin. The blot powder just seems to blot. This blots and also makes my skin look a little bit smoother, I think. I do prefer the round packaging of this though than to this packaging, but it's not like a deal breaker. I think I will definitely continue to purchase this. but my number one pressed powder. Not necessarily for blotting oil. I would say this is number one, current number one for blotting oil. But for a pressed powder that I use to set my under eye area, and I also use it as a beautiful finishing powder, is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. This is shade 1, which I use to set my under eye concealer and brighten up my under eye area. And then I use a mixture of 1 and 2 for my face. It is a beautiful powder. I recommend it to everyone. I talk about it all the time. This is definitely my number one pressed powder. And then for loose powders, in at number 3 is this one from Wet n Wild. It is the Photofocus Translucent Powder. This was a recent discovery, or at least in the last 6 months. I picked this up for about $5 or $6, and I was really impressed with the texture of this powder, with how it really diffused my pores and smoothed my texture. It doesn't control oil, but it doesn't claim to. It's just a really good finishing powder that's budget friendly, that I think will look beautiful on all skin types and all ages as well. But if you are looking for a powder that has a little bit more of a hydrating property to it, well, this one contains hyaluronic acid. It's the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder. This is the shade Rosy Light, but I also have it in the translucent, and then I think I have it in natural. I recommend this to anyone who is like over 40 or over 45, or even if you don't have dry skin. I do not have dry skin. This is a beautiful powder for smoothing fine lines, just for keeping the hydration in your skin. A lot of mature skins are afraid of loose powders because you feel like powders just suck the moisture out of your skin and make you look older. This powder was specifically formulated to not do that. And then in at number 1 is a recent discovery. As I mentioned earlier, I did or will be putting up a video on products I wish I tried sooner. And one of the products mentioned in that video was this powder from Juvia's Place. This is called I Am Magic Setting Powder. I use the shade White Sands. This is incredible for brightening the under eyes. I do not bake. I do not take large amounts of powder and apply it under my eyes and in this area and then let it sit for a few minutes and dust it off like a lot of the younger YouTubers do. I don't do that. I don't recommend anyone over 40 does that. But if you are looking for just a little bit of brightening in the T-zone, under the eyes, if you have oily skin, this is a great powder. Because of the 3, I do find that it does control oil, but I mostly use it for setting and brightening my under eyes. I find myself reaching for this lately more so than this, my Charlotte Tilbury. Oh, and I was wrong. This is not number 1. I do have number 1, but this is actually number 2. Back to the loose powders. This one from Juvia's Place is amazing. And as I said, I'm going to close this video out with setting sprays, my top 3 setting sprays. In at number 3 is a former number 1. This is the Soft Focus Setting Spray from Hourglass. It's called Veil. It has a very fine mist. This is wonderful for anyone with combination to oily skin and texture and pores. It just, well, everybody has pores, but large pores. You spray this on and it really just makes your skin look beautiful. It does set your makeup, but it is not as long wearing. It doesn't make your makeup as long wearing as my number 1. So this is number 3. I love it. In at number 2 is a new setting spray for me, and I'm putting this one in this video because I want to at least have some options for people with drier skin. I purchased this by mistake, to be honest with you. I meant to get this one size setting spray in the matte formula, the one that is oil controlling and keeps you matte all night long, supposedly. I accidentally picked up Preserve the Serve, which is a luminous setting mist, but I did not find that it made me look greasy. I hate to use the word greasy, but when you have oily skin, there's really no other better way to describe how your skin feels when you've used too many dewy products or something that has the word luminous in it. So I was a little fearful that I would look too, well, greasy with this, but I don't at all. I actually feel like I look pretty youthful and glowy with this setting spray, and it does keep my makeup on, and it felt good going on. It's a little bit less expensive than these other 2 options, so I'm kind of glad that I ended up with this one. I do still want to try the mattifying one to see if it's any better than my holy grail, Charlotte Tilbury. My regular viewers already knew that this was my number 1. I talk about it all the time. This is called the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I love the way it smells. I love the fine mist it has. This locks in my makeup all day and night. I just cannot say enough good things about it. So clearly, this is my number one. All right, that'll do it for part one of my top 3 products in each beauty category. Today was obviously complexion. Part 2 will most likely be eyes, or maybe eyes and cheeks, or maybe I'll just do 2 videos and have the next one be eyes, cheeks, and lips. Again, let me know in the comments how you think I should do part 2. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and join the Risa Does Makeup family. I do try to upload new content at least 2 to 3 times per week. You can also find more content from me on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. The username is the same on all platforms. It's Risa Does Makeup. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.